Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Teacher Yan, a J1 English teacher currently teaching here in South Carolina. And for this video, I've decided to share with you guys the things that I struggled and adjusted with in my first few months here, and the things that I like and love about being able to teach here. If you want to know what those things are, please keep on watching. So let me begin with saying that before I flew in, I've actually already been talking and exchanging messages with the only Filipino teacher here in our district before I came. So somehow she's prepared me with some of the stuff, with what kind of students I should expect, what kind of environment. But truth be told, you can never really be 100% prepared, you know? So these are the 5 things that I struggled with and adjusted with in my first few months, in my first few weeks here in South Carolina. So the first thing was the accent. Yes, the Southern accent is very different. And it took me a while. It took my ears a while to get acclimated with how fast they talk, with the accent, and with the way they pronounce words. But after a few weeks, I was able to, my ears were able to adjust and their words became clearer to me. But those first few days, I was struggling. I needed to tell them to slow down a little, break it down a little for me, or to ask students what do they mean, because there are terms, slangs that I'm not really familiar with. And if you ask them in the right way, they would explain it to you. But of course, there would be students who would use it somehow, just for the lack of a better term, against you, just to make fun of you and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, once you get their respect, once you earn their respect and their trust, they're gonna help you around it. But yeah, that was one. The accent was. The second one that I needed to adjust with was living on my own, like doing everything on my own. I mean, this might just be me, but all my life I've been living with my family. I've been living with my mom, my parents, with my siblings. So I am used to a noisy home. I'm used to having mama around to do stuff for me. I'm used to just from work, go home, eat, help a little. I can cook, but most of the time I cook if I don't have work. But if it's a work day, I would just jump out of my bed, go to the bathroom, wash, ready, eat, and leave. But here, I have to do everything on my own. And I remember doing laundry for the first time. I didn't even know really what to do. So I had to call my mom. I had to call mama and ask her which ones to put together in the laundry, in the washing machine, in the washer, and which ones to separate. I know I'm 30, but this is my first time to really live on my own. So that is an adjustment. Homesickness, praise God, it wasn't that bad for me. It isn't that bad for me yet, because somehow I feel at home. But I'll go there later. But yeah, that's the second one that I needed to adjust with. It's living on my own and doing everything on my own. The third one would be driving. I didn't drive in the Philippines. I only started learning how to drive when I knew that I was planning to work here. So before that, I was always the passenger and never the driver. I didn't even know the parts of the car. I mean, I knew the steering wheel, the brakes and stuff, but I really didn't know how each work. You know what I mean? I don't know if you get it, but so here where I'm assigned, you have no accessible public transportation. No buses, no nothing. So you really need to drive. So that was one adjustment. And the speed limit, people, like it's miles per hour. So basically, I don't know how to do the math for this one, but the slowest you go here when you're in the neighborhoods is 20 to 30 miles per hour. And when you're in that interstate, you go from 60 miles per hour to 80. And some would even go to 100, but that depends. But yeah, so I think it's easier to drive here than driving in the Philippines, but you can't go anywhere without driving, people. I mean, you can carpool, you can share a ride, but if you want to go somewhere on your own, then you have to drive. You have to drive. So going back to the school setting, my next adjustment would be how to discipline the students, how to handle their behavior, because it's so hard to discipline someone or a group of students you barely know. I cried on my second day, like not in school, but when I went home. I think it sunk into me that I'm in a different country and the students that I'm dealing with have backgrounds that I am unfamiliar with. So the community they grew up in, the kind of family setup they have, it's very different from what we're used to, what I'm used to back home. So I was like, back home, I knew how to handle difficult students because I was accustomed to the kind of community they're in, to the kind of home setup they're in, to the kind of students they are, you know? But here, you know, I'm an alien. I'm a foreigner here, and I didn't know how to handle, like, I didn't even know how to approach them because I don't know if saying this word or approaching them in this way would be offensive, or is it acceptable, or what's the right way? Should I approach them the way they approach me, or what? So it was something that I needed to learn. And in the first week, because I'm handling ninth graders, it was so difficult because I didn't know what to do. I think that struggle was at its peak on the first week, because I felt like a total stranger, the odd one out. Nothing. I knew nothing about them. I knew nothing about their community, so it was hard. So that was a major struggle and adjustment, which leads me to my fifth one. It still has something to do with school and work, and that is the write-up. Because here, when a student misbehaves, you fill out a referral form, which you send to the office. For my case, for a couple of weeks, I did not write up any student, even if their behavior was beyond me, because I felt guilty. I told one of my colleagues that I don't want to write them up because I feel like before I write them up, I have to feel like I've done everything that I can to help them, because I feel so guilty. And then this colleague tells me, but it's protocol, you know. It's not something that I should take personally. He told me that I have such a big heart for thinking so, but it's also gonna drain me if I keep myself from doing that, from writing them up. So it took me, I think, a month or so before I finally found the strength to write up a student because of a misbehavior. And then I realized that, yeah, I shouldn't take it personally. It's part of protocol. And it's also setting a precedence. So if I don't do anything about their behavior, which is in line with the school protocol, with the district protocol, then it's just gonna tolerate the misbehavior. So now I'm still not that comfortable or used to writing students up. I still tend to stretch my patience before I do so, but I have somehow gotten a hang of it. I feel less guilty because I make sure that whoever I write up, it's because they did something wrong. It's a misbehavior that needs to be written up. Those are my 5 major adjustments in my first few weeks or first few months here. Now let me share to you the 5 things that I have observed and experienced, which I like and which I enjoy. Starting with